Hello, everybody. Bill Thornton, SoCal Saber. Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, wearing my garb, there's stuff that I picked up, and when my grandson and I went down to L.A. to Hollywood last week, and we went to Amiga Music, and I put out a video on what I picked up there. Check it out. What a great store that was. Anyway, thanks, Final Community, for coming. This is Vine Spinning number 123. I can't believe I've been doing this for 123 weeks. I'm still working on getting through all my albums, and I'm still working on that big Whatnot bundle. That's dwindling down pretty close. We're going to start this week off with one of them from that bundle. It's a 1967 album, and it's called Seekers in Green by the Seekers. It's the only thing I have in the collection by them. I can remember when they were out and on the radio and everything, but I was never never heard anything that I really cared for. So I didn't even become a slight fan. But this was in the bundle. They're an Australian group, and this was their 6th studio album. And it was their final one until May of 1975, when the group's 7th album, The Seekers, self-titled, was released. They had some hits. They had 6 top 10 hits in the 60s. I can remember them. Like I said, wasn't a fan. One reviewer stated that they were too pop to be considered strictly folk and too folk to be considered rock. Can I agree with that? I don't know. A lot of times, what does it take to be considered rock? What does it take to be considered pop rock? What is folk rock? The differences, I've never been able to learn them. So tell me if you know the difference between country rock and pop rock. What is the difference in there? So anyway, that was the Capitol album. And that started the week off with the 1967 album, The Seekers Seen in Green. And probably because, it was okay, but because I wasn't a big fan, I can only go fair plus for this one for this week. Maybe an injustice to them, but if you're a Seekers fan, please don't shoot me for that. Okay. A couple minutes in now. Go down there and hit that like button. And please, if you're not, and you're watching and you haven't subscribed yet, please do so to help the channel grow. This channel is starting to become stagnant. We need everybody's help. Tell your friends about it. Get them over here. And also, I'll be live tomorrow on my other channel if you want to come over and hear what we're talking about live and see what the participants bring up as subjects and so forth. So that'll be 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on the other channel, the Bill Thornton one. All right, here we go. The next one is a 1959 album. So we're 67 years old. Wow. And this is The Door Swings, a Stan Kenton 1959 album. And of course, it's the only thing I got Stan Kenton in the collection. This was an album where he did Broadway hits, but he pepped them up and did with a jazzy sound. This one was also Capitol. This was in pretty good shape. Look at that album for being 67 years old. Yeah, this came out of the Whatnot bundle too. The first 2 every week right now are still out of that Whatnot bundle until it's over. And so it's an album by the Stan Kenton, who was a big band leader. Let me see what I got to note here. And it featured songs from musical Broadway musicals in 1958. No, and I'm not a big fan. I'm an okay fan, but I'm not a big fan of big band sounds. I don't seek them out, but I don't throw them away when they come along. This album was easy to listen to, and so I'm going to give this one a G. 47 years old and is in really good shape. That was The Door Swings, the 1959 album by Stan Kenton. Any big band fans or musical fans out there? Never been a fan of the musicals either. I've been to a couple, but not a fan. Okay. Now the next one we got is one that I picked up. We're no longer in the whatnot. And this is a 2021 reissue of a 1982 LP by the Dead Kennedys. Plastic Surgery Disasters. It's the second full-length album by the punk rock band. Let's see if we got an enter in here or not. No enter on this one either. The album is characterized by fast-paced, aggressive, hardcore punk with sarcastic and politically charged lyrics. The lyrics often talked about real-life events, conspiracies, and political manipulation, blending dark humor with social commentary. Knowing that when it first started playing, I was going, "Holy crap, this guy sings fast." I call it speedboat singing. It was really going fast, but it was understandable, and the lyrics are on here. So the government flu, terminal preppy, trust your mechanic, well-paid scientist, forest fire, Winnebago warrior, bleed for me, moon over Marin, and that's a lot of this has to do something with the youngsters in South Africa somewhere, I believe. Okay. Critics and fans regarded Plastic Social Disorders as a pivotal hardcore punk album. Praised for its musicianship, satirical lyrics, and intense energy. I all of those different titles, and I followed along with the lyrics, and that it was pretty interesting, and found it interesting that like I said, the speedboat singing could have made the lyrics hard to understand, but didn't, because they were also written. Okay, and so a while back ago, I asked them to get some more punk into that one. This one I picked. I have got a couple in that. I did get a couple in that One Night bundle that you saw if you've been following me that I didn't care for at all. So this one I'm going to rate a G for the week. More good punk in the collection. Dead Kennedys, 2021 reissue of their 82 LP, Plastic Surgery Disasters. All right. Moving along. This is time where we normally pick out 2 CDs out of the collection, but we only picked out one this week. It was number 221, I believe it was. The reason I picked it out because it's 2 discs, 2 CDs, and 148 minutes total in length. Wow! And this was. I'm going to show you the whole thing here. Pulse by Pink Floyd. I have 10 LPs and 12 CDs, which include Pulse on both on LP and CD. This was the 3rd live album by the English rock band. It was recorded during the European leg of Pink Floyd's Division Bell tour in 1994. I believe, don't hold me to it, but I believe we're talking now David Gilmour era. Comes with a really nice little book I'm going to show you here. And unlike the previous live album, no parts were re-recorded in the studio. They did it, they recorded it, and that's the way they published it. I think that's pretty cool. The album actually came, I don't know if you can see it, just a little, you probably won't be able to see it right there. Came with a little light, a flashing red light that flashed on and off and on and off. But the battery wore down. I don't know how to change the batteries on it. But that was pretty cool. It was oddity when it, and it was only the early CD versions that had that. They changed it afterward. I guess it became too cost effective with the batteries and the light and all of that kind of stuff. Okay. Pulse. I'm going to show you the CD and then we'll go through the book. This is the first one. Nice color on it. This came out and it debuted at #1 on the Billboard 200. It became the first multi-disc album to top the Billboard 200 since the chart started using SoundScan in 1991. Some of the printing on here you probably won't be able to read. Come on, Bill. I'll keep the pages going. My, oh my. Never did get to see them. Charted on 25 different charts, and it peaked at #1 on 16 of them. And guess what? Me purchasing this, I helped it along the way. Never did get to see them. My son Paul saw them when he was in the Navy. They were docked in England. They were over in England, and Floyd was showing, and him and his buddy hopped the train, got the time off, hopped the train, and went over and saw it. He said it was just a great show. Working my way here. We're getting there. Anybody out there seen them? Any Pink Floyd fans out there? Do you have this particular set? It's a 4-album set in the album set that I have. 2 CDs, like 148 minutes, like I said, with the 2 CDs. That's a lot of Pink Floyd in one day, but it was well worth it. And Pink Floyd's the type of music where I didn't have to sit and really concentrate listening to it. I could be doing other things in the house and still be enjoying the music. We're almost there. Okay, so we're there, and I'm going to pull the CD out and show it to you. Most of the second version was most of a replay of the Dark Side of the Moon with some other changes in it also. So that was the only CD for the week. It was the 1995 CD Pulse by Pink Floyd. I can't help but I got to give this one a VG plus for the week. The production and the sound, the records, are just really, really good stuff. Check it out if you don't have it. Get the old. I talk about old. Last week on the other channel, I put out a video on Starfield, the PC game. And one of the commentators, pretty cool, he says, "All right, we got a Starfield grandpa with us this year." I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah, I'm an old man. I am a grandpa too. Anyway, here we go. We're here to talk about music. So now we're going into the 2 LPs of the week that get pulled out from that were in the collection for a long time. First one is number 117. And I'm having a heck of a time with it. What's going on here? It's the 1978 LP by Ambrosia, Life Beyond L.A. It's the only thing I have in the collection by them. I wonder why. You know, when I was doing some research on them, I read that their first 2 albums, this is their 3rd album, that they're first with Warner Brothers. In their first 2 albums were more on a progressive rock note. I probably didn't go check on it because back in those days we didn't have the internet to be able to find out these neat things. So I have made it put it on my list to check their stuff out. Maybe add on because this is the only thing in the collection. I really did like them. Yeah, they supposedly moved away from their progressive rock onto more jazz and soft rock sounds. Probably so they can get some more radio play. I don't think back in the late 70s that they were able to play the long prog rock things on the radio. So, you know, it cost them a lot of money to not getting radio play, not getting MTV play, so they probably led to their reasoning for changing things. This was Ambrosia's most successful album, peaking at number 19 on the Billboard Top 200. Okay. Had 3 singles, How Much I Feel, managed to reach the top 10, peaking at number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100 charts, becoming their 2nd top 40 hit. The second final throw. And I did like this one. I said I don't wonder why I didn't look them up because I didn't know about their prog rock stuff, and so I did a little research after listening to this one. I says, well, I'll be checking it out. Never too late. It's pretty good. I'm going to give Ambrosia's Life Beyond L.A. from 1978 a G+ for the week. All right, don't forget, when I'm done, I got one more to go, and then I'm going to tell you the 2 that I picked that took me back in time, or had I most fun with, or what, a lot of different reasons. You know, the quality, the music, my thoughts, and all of that. The final one of the week is a 1979 album by Eagles, The Long Run. I do have 4 LPs and 5 CDs in the collection. It's got some good stuff on this one here. The Long Run, and the Disco Strangler, King of Hollywood, Heartache Tonight, the Greek, you're the geeks don't need no freaks. Lots of good stuff on this one here. And I know we do have an inner in here. This was the band's final album for Asylum Records, and it also turned out to be their last album during their original tenure. The Eagles, as they disbanded in 1980. There were 3 singles from the album: Heartache Tonight, The Long Run, and I Can't Tell You Why. Heartache Tonight reached number 1 on the singles chart and won a Grammy Award that year. This was first to feature bassist Timothy Schmidt, who had replaced the founding member Randy Meisner. When it came out, the album was received with again critical reviews by the critics. I must buy all the albums that they don't like, because most of them didn't like this album for one reason or another. But the fans told a different story. This album charted on 13 different charts, and it peaked at number 1 on 5 of them. That's the story. The fans, as far as I'm concerned, they don't make any money from what the critics say, but they did make money from the fans buying the albums and CDs. And this was a really, really good way to end the week with The Long Run by Eagles. And I'm going to give it a VG to end the week. Wow. It was a pretty good week. I enjoyed everything. I did nothing lower than a fair plus on here. So for the week, this was not a hard pick for me. I'm not picking the Pulse because it's Pink Floyd, and that's, to me, that's like all of those songs on there, it's like a greatest hits compilation type things. And I said I wasn't going to do that very much anymore, picking those types. But I am going to pick, first one I'm going to pick is the 1978 album by Ambrosia, Life Beyond L.A. Good stuff. G+ on the week for that one. And the final one I'm going to pick is the one we just looked at, The Long Run, the Eagles, 1979. So that was good. I hope you people enjoyed this. Please put some comments down there. Let me know what you're listening to if you're not listening to any of this stuff. I'd love to hear what you guys are listening to. And if you have recommendations for the channel to get better, what you want me to do, let me know. So Cal Saber saying, take care of yourselves out there. Be kind to each other and stay safe.